What's going on, Junkie Nation? Gorgeous George and Goes are back with another superstar from the sport of mixed martial arts. Rob Wilkinson, the 2022 light heavyweight champion over at PFL. He is going to be headlining against Thiago Santos coming up here on April 1st. He had an amazing season last year. We welcome him back to the show. What's up, Rob? How are you?
I'm doing good, guys. How are you?
Good, thank you. Last time we were talking to you, we interrupted your dinner. I think you were in New York. And we were asking you if you already felt like life was changing. What were the last 4 or 5 months like for Rob Wilkinson?
It's been good. Nothing too much has changed, apart from probably a lot more interviews than I'm used to. A few people here and there recognizing me, especially back home in Tassie. But yeah, same thing. I'm kind of straight back into the gym. I had a little bit of time off and caught up with friends and family, but I love training. I love fighting, and I'm looking forward to doing it again this year.
Are you as hungry now as you were right before last season was going to start?
Honestly, I think I'm hungrier in a sense. I really want to make a statement this year, and I really want to win it 2 years in a row. Then go on to win it 3 years, be the first person ever to win it 3 years in a row. I set myself a goal of being a world champion that I achieved last year, and then I sat down and made some bigger goals. And I didn't want to just leave it at that. I set myself some goals to really challenge myself and push how far I can go in this sport. I'm excited to go and tick those goals off over the next few years.
How important is this fight? I know they're all important. The next fight's everyone's Super Bowl. Even a guy that's 0-0 and it's his debut in MMA, he feels like it's his Super Bowl, he or she. But here's why I ask. Man, this first fight really sets the tone. Like last year, for example, you get in there and finish. Well, you finished them all. I thought you were the MVP of PFL last year personally, but you get in there, you finish, and you look at the points, and right away, there's got to be a whoo to it, right?
100%. I think this fight, it almost feels like a bigger fight than the final last year. It's against a big name. I think it's probably the toughest guy in the tournament to verse for myself, and I think it's going to be exciting to go out there, make a statement, get a finish, and then kind of really show that I want no one wanting to fight me. I want everyone, if they get matched up with me, they're like, fuck, So I want to go make a statement with Thiago and make everyone else scared to fight me, and make a big show for the final.
And you brought up that name, Thiago Santos, an exciting fighter. Just like you both have punched the clock over at UFC. You guys have fought big names. You both have had incredible, huge title fights. Yours went your way. His, unfortunately, didn't go his. But still, these are top of the notch fighters. And, we even joked, Rob, right before the interview about, Goes and I being the co-main event in your structure of interviews today. But You're the co-main event. And that bugs me, man, because I thought you were, again, the MVP last year, or at least co-MVP, because Loughnane was amazing too, or whatever. But, do you feel the same way? I no disrespect to Ante Delija, no disrespect to, the OAM or anything like that. But, couldn't they have put you in? You're a finisher. Santos is a savage. Like, what am I missing here?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I thought when I first got told it was going to be main event, and then I saw that it was co-main. It would be nice to be main event, but at the same time, it doesn't really bother me. Last year I was fighting early on the cards, which I really enjoyed because, it's good to just get it done early and then you can watch the rest of the fights. I'm sure this year I'll be, at the tail end of the card. So, it is what it is.
All right. Well, as long as you're cool with it, then we're cool with it. But again, I at least wanted to know that you have some life in you, and it kind of bothered you a little bit because, sometimes I guess when you're successful, you got the money situated, you got a belt, behind you or whatever, a little ego jumps in there at some point. You want that respect, right?
I do. I definitely want that respect. I want to be considered, even with I saw some of their like world rankings. how low I am on some of those rankings. I think UFC and UFC fighters, for whatever reason, get put on a pedestal above all the other promotions. I'm one of the world champions of like 4 major promotions, and I definitely consider myself top 10, and I want to go prove that I'm the best light heavyweight in the world. So that's why I'm excited for this fight. But I want to get some respect on my name, as I've seen some of those rankings, and I'm pretty far down there for someone who just went and won a world title and 6 finishes in a row since moving up to light heavyweight.
I think all your fights have been finishes, 16 of 17.
Yeah.
You're not like, the sub machine or the KO machine. Like, I think that's 9 and 7. So it's distributed. You distribute violence in many different ways. I mean, even your 2021 or 22 campaign was, like I say, impressive in its own, because they were all kind of, different types of, finishes, knees and punches or whatever.
Yeah.
I really, really loved it. So put some respect on his name. And guess what? I'm talking to myself, because I have something to do with the USA Today Sports and MMA Junkie rankings. I'm computing in my head as you're talking. I think maybe it was just, you spent some time as middleweight, and so we're now adding your resume to your resume, the impressive form at light heavyweight. But I see Thiago Santos occupying a spot. I think if you win, you definitely punt him and you start moving up. But I think that at least that's probably what happened with us. If it was us that was the target of your comment there, or maybe it's other rankings. I don't know.
I don't know. It was a couple different websites, but yeah, for sure. I think that's why I'm super excited for Thiago. He's one of the top 10 guys. He left the UFC as a top 10 UFC fighter anyway. So going out there and getting a finish and making a statement on him, I think does start to put that respect on my name and start climbing those rankings.
Mm-hmm. All right. Then MMA Junkie Radio here with Rob Wilkinson, the PFL 2022 light heavyweight champ. He's fighting Thiago Santos. And guess what, folks? April 1st on ESPN proper. So there's going to be a big spotlight on all the fighters for the first week here at PFL. Let me turn it over to Goes. Goes, what do you have for Razor Rob?
Rob, so that fight, I know that it's a big deal for you, get the win for you, but is there a little selfish part that just wants to get the win to kind of send a message over to UFC guys like, hey, this is what you have waiting for you over here?
100%. I think, he's been fighting the top guys in the UFC for, forever now. And, his last fight was against now the current UFC champion. Jamal Hill. So I think going out there and making a statement and, finishing him and making it look easy in a sense, and having a better performance than all these guys in the UFC have had against him, I think that really goes to show, there's a lot of good fighters out there, not just in the UFC. And we've seen this time and time again with PFL UFC fighters leaving the UFC and coming over to the PFL and thinking they can have some easy fights and make a quick $1 million. And then that's not been the case at all. So I'm looking forward to doing the same thing to Thiago.
Well, last year was so perfect when you look at it, everything that you were able to do. But through your eyes, when you go back and look at it, is there anything you can point to that you didn't like or you wanted to maybe fix for this year?
I definitely enjoyed last year. It was, as you said, it was a very good year for myself. But that doesn't mean I don't think I can improve on that. One of my big things last year was just to, keep trying to have my best performances to date. And I think I kind of kept doing that, but I still don't think I've shown my full skill set. So I want to be well-rounded. I want to be going out there, showing my full skill set, whether that's, as we've kind of talked about, getting submissions, getting knockouts, showing that I'm a complete mixed martial artist and I can win the fight on the ground or standing up. And that's kind of what my goals for this year are.
Rob, we definitely would not want you to reinvent the wheel. What you're doing is working. I love finishes. You leave it out of the judge's hands. But I did want to ask you this. I'm sure you either heard about or saw Merab Dvalishvili beat Peter Yan. Peter Yan's a former champ, highly regarded, but man, Merab really, really sliced him up over 25 minutes. And I started thinking, How do you feel about that type of ass kicking versus the finish? I mean, is there something to be said for mauling someone? Because like, we've been describing it and talking about it on our show and other stuff, and I'm running out of superlatives to describe just how impressive Merab Dvalishvili, was.
Yeah, super impressive. I was very impressed with that fight as well. I think when you completely maul someone like that, it's almost as good as a finish. But I still think at the same time, if you're kind of beating someone up that bad for 25 minutes, like, what aren't you doing to get that finish? Like, are you playing it a little bit safe, or what's going on that you're not trying to actually get them out of there? So you maybe maul someone for 4 rounds and finish them in the 5th, and then that's kind of complete dominance. But obviously, Peter Yan's extremely tough, and credit goes to him that he didn't quit, and it's hard to get the finish on him. But I think a mauling's very close to a finish, as I said, but I think the finish is still kind of tops that.
In a way, when you got the call for Santos, not that you can predict the future, because you have to control what you do and he has to control what he does, and then you have the point system. But in the way, was there kind of like shucks, I really had envisioned this as a final?
I did. I did think it would be nice to fight him in the finals or the final. At the same time, I kind of had a feeling that they might chuck us in for the first round, as one of the guys from the PFL last year, when they were doing some filming on me before the final, said that often they hold off on the big fights and try and make them happen in the final, and then for whatever reason they don't happen. And he wanted me and Santos fighting straight away on round 1. So that is what it is. And the good thing with the PFL, you never know. Like, maybe we could fight each other twice this year. Just because you lose the first one, he could get a quick finish in the second one and still make it to the finals.
Yeah, I think in 2019, Lance Palmer had to fight the same opponent 3 times, which that might be a bit much because he won them all. Maybe if it was 1-1, it'd be more compelling. But yeah, maybe you guys can meet in the final. All right, last question. I want to maximize all 15 minutes here with the champ. Little tax there for being late. No, I'm just kidding again. I'm going to see you in Vegas, so I'm going to have to own up. You can leg kick me if you don't like all these jokes. Or put a pie in my face. I prefer that. No, listen, this is a serious question. Do you go back to Australia during the season, or do I remember you maybe being in Colorado, or what do you do about these long flights? How do you map out 2023?
Yeah, so I'm in Colorado at the moment. Last year, I decided after the first fight to stay over in the States, and I moved to Denver and trained at with Mark at Factory X. And I'm doing the same thing this year. So as soon as I found out the date of my fight, it was only 8.5 weeks notice, and I booked a flight to Denver 3 days later. So it would be nice, depending on what sort of time frame they have between the fights, to get back home to Australia at some point this year during the season. But after this fight, I've been told it's 9 weeks until the next fight. And I think 9 weeks again after that to the semifinals. So maybe between the semifinals and the finals, I'd be able to get home. Last year I had 16 weeks gap between that, so there's plenty of time to get home. So I'll try and do that this year if possible, but otherwise, I'll just be here training and focusing on the goal.
Do you think it makes you more focused because you're away from family or any other distractions?
Yeah, definitely. There's no distractions, as you said. And I'm sacrificing a lot. Like I've left my family. I've left like my close friends. I've got a very close small group of friends that I'm very close with back home. And I'm a big family person. I love being around those people. Right. So it is hard for me to up and leave, as well as my dog, up and come over here. But it kind of lights a fire under me where I'm here for a reason. I'm not here to, skip training or fuck around or anything like that. Like I'm here to, win this belt again this year. And yeah, I pretty much eat, train and sleep and repeat. So that's all I'm doing over here.
What's it like when you get back? Your dog must go nuts, right?
Yeah, she was pretty funny actually when I got back last year. She's a German Shepherd, and she was kind of like sometimes she seems a bit sassy, and she was kind of seemed at first like she was excited, but also why did you leave me for so long?
Right.
But then after I think it was a couple of hours, she just got like super excited, realized I was back for a decent amount of time, and just started getting the zoomies and sprinting around. When my girlfriend and her dog came over, I think she kind of clicked that we're back for good, and she started going crazy.
That's awesome. Yeah, amazing how much we've learned about dogs in the last few years. And I see these videos of like war vets when they come home and the dog just goes nuts. And I mean, of course, no disrespect to the girlfriend, your friends and family. I'm sure those homecomings were amazing too, but I was just curious about the dog. But anyway, we went over 50 minutes. I apologize. You can kick me in the leg when I see you. In a few weeks in Las Vegas. You got to watch Rob Wilkinson versus Thiago Santos. It's a sick co-main event, and even the main event, Marlon Moraes, Brendan Loughnane on ESPN. Catch it, folks, April 1st. Thank you, Rob. Take care, man.
No, thank you, guys.